Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. This video is going to be different. It is. I really wanted to address what happened on social media the other day. Prince William was accused of saying something he didn't say. Social media blew up, but what upset me was you got a bunch of people, I like to call them race baiters, that even though they tweeted something and then found out later on that William did not say it, they refused to apologize or fix what they've done. So we're going to take a look at that today. So stay with me and let's go. So the news broke saying that Prince William was under fire for comments he made about the Ukraine and comparing them with conflicts in Asia and Africa. But come to find out, he didn't say it. So we all know about what happened yesterday. Kate and William went to visit some people to support Ukraine, and he was taped. He was on tape giving a very uplifting statement and showing support for Ukraine. And what happened? Somebody reported something wrong, and all the race baiters jumped right on that puppy. Now, unless I'm reading this incorrectly, the person who started this entire thing was Richard Palmer, who's a royal reporter. He's saying in the chaos that something was misheard and it started a media storm, etc., etc. And he said, I apologize for reporting that. Okay, well, you know what? At least he apologized. But what about the others? Well, we all know about Dr. Shola, buddy, let me tell you. First of all, she immediately starts making comments about his looks, and she talks about his receding hairline. And let me tell you, she is nobody to be talking about anybody's looks. And she went with the story, and we've already talked about this. She thinks that the African Americans in Ukraine are being thrown to the wolves, which we've already shown is absolutely not true. And you see what she's writing here. It's alien in Europe, but we've already proven that he didn't say that. She even shows you the tweet, the offending tweet in the bottom here. He must apologize. It's deeply offensive. Okay, well, it's deeply offensive that you tweeted all this when it turned out to be a lie, and I don't see you apologizing. Look at Nadine White. She's the one that also put out one of these tweets and was talking about something that William supposedly said that it turns out he didn't. I agree with what Royally Blunt said. When Nadine White found out that it was a lie, she just kept going, right? Did you guys see her response? So Nadine decided she was going to put up a 5-point bulletin where basically she said, I'm not responsible for what was reported. She also said there was no denial about the Africa-Asia remarks. Well, why would there be a denial if they weren't said? Then she launched into points 3 and 4, where she says the alien remark was made, it was not. Then she starts talking about the Associated Press, which once again, we've already said they were not present. And then she essentially says that since we took the Associated Press report in good faith, we should not be subject to any criticism. In other words, she doesn't fact check anything. She just takes it at face value. Now, I agree with Baroness Buck here. I think she was trying very hard to get the attention of Bernice King, and she did. Evans Einstein apparently reached out to The Independent and said that The Independent has reached out to Nadine White and that there will be a conversation. Yeah, the conversation should be when you make a mistake, admit it, apologize, and move on. But that seems to be a common theme with people who are race baiters. Look what happened with Jack Royston. He went out there, he's tweeting, everybody look at my article. Martin Luther King's daughter is horrified at what Prince William said. It's just terrible. And by the way, make no mistake, in case you haven't noticed above, he talks about the Oprah interview with Meghan and Harry like that's something to be proud of, and also points out that the Caribbean tour is coming up. Now, let's not forget that he's a massive Meghan Markle lover, right? We know this, okay? But when it came out that William hadn't said that, Miss King simply deleted her tweets. That's right, she just deleted them. She didn't apologize. Jack Royston didn't take 10 steps back. They simply removed the tweets and moved on as if she hadn't smeared somebody in the public realm, which she did. And people are really upset because Bernice King did not research her comments. She really disgraced the memory of her father. She does have anti-white philosophies, and she really wants to believe Meghan Markle, so she's just putting out misinformation. So, in my opinion, this type of behavior where you don't come back and apologize just makes you another race baiter. And another spot-on comment from Royally Blunt: don't tell me that none of you noticed the Jamaican flag on Nadine's bio. They know William didn't say what he was accused of. They were gunning for something bigger. They were sabotaging his Caribbean tour. Jack Royston gave himself away. Yep. Now, Messi here pointed out that she wrote something wrong, she retracted it, and she apologized, and she's waiting for the other people that you see listed there to do the same. I wouldn't hold your breath, Messi. Now, let's not forget one of the biggest race baiters of them all, and the person who I believe is on Harry and Meghan's payroll, Omid Scobie. Let's not forget this tweet he put up where he was talking about the horrible things that William said. And then he tried to blame the misunderstanding on the Associated Press, and it was pointed out by Mr. Ship below, as you can see, that the Associated Press wasn't there that day. Now, it wasn't too long after that Omid posted what you see above, claiming that an apology had been made by the person who misquoted what William said. So that's great that he apologized, but Omid still has not apologized. And when he was asked if he was going to apologize, his answer is no. A big thank you to Max Delaney, who pointed out how Omid always tries to put the responsibility on somebody else. The Telegraph put out the above article, and it specifically names Omid Scobie and points out that he criticized Prince William wrongly. And Omid's response is predictable. It's to say, look, they're trying to blame me and all these other people, but essentially he's saying it's not my fault. Now, as if all of that's not enough, you've got people like this person who's tweeting, what sort of camera recorded that? It's dreadful quality. And I doubt that this blurry, barely audible, terribly framed footage was a professional ITV camera person's work. So somebody explain it. To which Chris Ship, once again to the rescue, writes, you're wrong. It was recorded by an ITV news camera on behalf of all the broadcasters. They were in a small, crowded room full of boxes and volunteers. There was no ability for the crew to move around. This is what it is. And in the future, only comment if you actually know what you're talking about. That should have been for everybody, Chris, not just for this person. I completely agree with what Camilla Tomini said. The hypocrisy of those who readily call others liars with no evidence and then won't admit to their own lies when evidence is provided never ceases to amaze me. Exactly. And I also agree with what Rumble Online said. One of the worst parts of social media is the complete refusal to admit when you tweet something inaccurate and apologize for doing so. Too many see it as heroic, when in reality it's the opposite. Just apologize and move on. Amen. And I also want to say I completely agree with this tweet, and I feel it. You know what I'm saying? To the people at the Ukrainian center whose message got hijacked while their country is at war and in a life or death struggle. Oh, shame on you all for doing that during a time of war. And to those people who are helping the people in Ukraine and those people in the Ukraine, we hear you. We see you. And all of us are going to try our best to be there for you. No, I want to also say that all of this race baiting is also coming up because of the Jussie Smollett case. For those of you who need a quick refresher, he was a very famous actor. He claimed he was lynched, that he had a bunch of people with MAGA hats that threw bleach on him and they put a noose around his neck. And the story quickly fell apart and they found out that he had hired these two guys, one of them of which he was sleeping with, to do this crime. He's not the one who called the police. I don't think he ever intended to call the police. This was supposed to be something small, but it got blown up out of proportion. And before he knew what was going on, it was out of his control. All of the evidence they collected, they found these two guys that he had hired that had worked with him, two African-American guys who had tried to buy the MAGA hats. They found where Jussie had paid them. I mean, it was just, the evidence was just overwhelming. And let's not forget, he claimed it was two white Caucasian men with MAGA hats who attacked him. And almost immediately, all these famous people came out of the woodwork asking for leniency, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and like all these famous people. He suffered enough, they said. His career is in shambles. I don't believe that. And by the way, Mr. Smollett has yet to admit everything that went on and still claims that it was an attack and he was framed and he's innocent even though he was found guilty. And now they're claiming that the jury was racist. Right. I find it amazing that all of these famous people stepped up for him. Really? And I'm only saying that because instead of an African-American man who claimed he was assaulted by Caucasian people and he lied, and it's obvious that he's lying. Had it been a Caucasian person claiming that he was assaulted by an African American and it was proven he'd lied, I guarantee you everybody would want the book thrown at them for daring to claim that an African American assaulted him. I guarantee you, if the shoe was on the other foot, nobody would be asking for leniency. They were asking for alternatives to prison because he's a black gay man and he shouldn't go to prison. Yeah, like no other black gay men have ever gone to prison. There's also the little fact that Mr. Smollett refused to turn over his cell phone. He refused to give a DNA sample. He refused to give access to his medical records. And of course, he gave the typical, I don't trust the police. Well, if you've been assaulted and had bleach thrown on you and had a noose thrown around your neck, and they're there trying to help you, you should probably trust them. These are just typical excuses for not wanting to cooperate because, again, this went much further than I think he thought it was going to go. And for those wondering why they wanted DNA, apparently a letter had shown up at the Empire, I don't know where they get their mail, that apparently had, bad things in it. And they think that he mailed the letter to himself. And so they wanted DNA sample to, check. And he's refused to give it. There you go. Anyway, he was sentenced to restitution and community service and 5 months in the county jail. Not even prison. No, the county jail. And Mr. Smollett stood up and started screaming, I'm not suicidal, and if anything happens to me in there, I did not do it to myself. I am not suicidal. He's obviously very paranoid. He's obviously got some sort of mental issues. I hope he gets the help he needs because he really needs it. I want to thank the Flamingo Duchess on Twitter for this picture. It's an even better picture of Harry looking like Friar Tuck. I swear to God, every time I see what his hair really, really looks like, that's just what runs through my head. I can't help myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, comments appreciated. I want you to know that I don't appreciate race baiting. And maybe it's just me, but it seems to me that since Harry and Meghan got married, race relations are at an all-time low. It's like Meghan has divided the world. She should be ashamed of herself. Don't forget to leave those comments below. I want to hear them. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button to be notified of future uploads. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Getter. You can email me. And for those who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.